What is going on, guys? Happy Sunday, October 30th. It is early in the morning, somewhat. Maybe you think it's later in the morning. Either way around it, this is Tony K with UGSM, living the dream as always. And as you can tell by the screen, I am going to do a little bit of a review of these Transformers cards that we're getting here in the upcoming Magic the Gathering set, The Brothers War. Before we get into that, I have a few things I want to say. First off, if you enjoy the videos, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you can. It is a very congested place to create content, so sticking out in any way, shape, or form is hard. I've seen a little bit of an uptick in viewers, in likes and comments, things like that. It means so much. I just wanted to say thank you. Continue to support the channel. Those things really do mean a lot, and I'm not asking for anything physical. I'm just asking for you to tap your screen. So pretty awesome that you guys are doing that. The other thing is, if you want shorter versions of some of these conversations I'm having, I do post videos on TikTok under ugsm.tonyk. Some of the Magic the Gathering stuff, depending upon the music I use in the background, things like that, I may post it here on YouTube, but otherwise it is another place you can find my content. With that being said, let's give you guys a quick rundown. Brothers War, Magic the Gathering, coming out here in a few weeks. We're getting these Transformer cards. And I talked about quite a few of these in short form videos. But we're getting 15 cards based on the show Transformers. I'm just going to go through them. I'm not going to try and think of every combination or build around these cards. Just kind of wanted to talk about them real quick, and hopefully this video doesn't take too long. Let's go in alphabetical order. First off, we have Arky Sharpshooter. Now, what you're going to notice is that all of these cards do convert, transform, flip, whatever you want to call it. They're two-sided. And all these cards are going to have a way where you can cast the front side, or you can do the more than meets the eye. Most of these cards, the more than meets the eye is a reduced cost. The more than meets the eye lets you play it on the other side. There are some, like Cyclonus the Saboteur, that it actually costs more. There are a few of them that cost more. So just kind of keep that in mind. It does look like their colors, though, are all within whatever the colors are here. So most of them have something where it's the more than meets the eye, they have some kind of ability, and then Arky, for example, remove one or more +1/+1 counters from Arky. It deals that much damage to target creature. Convert it. When you convert it, a lot of them have this living metal, so I won't read that every time, where it's as long as it's your turn, it's a creature as well. And then whenever, it'll have another way to convert it back. Whenever you cast a spell that targets one or more creatures or vehicles you control, put that many +1/+1 counters on Arky and convert it. And then you can do that. So not all of them, remember there's 15, but a lot of these seem to have a way where if you can put together the engine around it, get a couple cards around it, you can make some infinite combos or some really long combos or some crazy stuff. So if you guys end up coming up with anything that you want to share, don't hesitate to comment or share that, because I think these are going to be really fun to brew around. I talked about Blaster Combat DJ a little bit on my TikTok video. Other non-token creature, artifact creatures and vehicles you control have Modular 1. Modular was never an ability I was huge on. But again, you see just removing, adding, things like that. Blitzwing Cruel Tormentor, another one of these really cool cards. This one, again, reduces combat, or reduces the price for the more than meets the eye. Very interesting the way that they built these. Just some of these cards I think are going to be good as commanders, and some of them I think are going to slot in well into decks. There's one coming up in a few cards that I think is going to slot really well into a deck. Cyclonus the Saboteur is a card that stood out to me when I was looking at these. So again, looking at the mana costs, 2/5, yada yada. It's got that more than meets the eye, so this one costs more to play it on the other side. Let's read this. Whenever Cyclonus deals combat damage to a player, it convenes. If Cyclonus power is 5 or greater, convert it. When it's converted, again, that living metal has flying, and then when it deals combat damage to a player, convert it. If you do, there's an additional beginning phase after this phase. And that includes untap, upkeep, and draw. So Cyclonus the Saboteur is one of those cards that it's got this ability to basically give you another upkeep. There's a lot of fun cards in Magic the Gathering's history that take advantage of upkeeps. If you can draw cards, if you can do any of those things, untapping, I mean, there's just a lot of crazy stuff you can do. In blue and black, I anticipate this being a commander. I really do. That's my anticipation. I don't know everything there is to know about Magic, but I do know that some cards you just look at and you say, man, that seems really, really good. Next, got Flame War. This one's all right. I mean, Rakdos kind of lives this life of sacrificing and dealing combat damage. I felt like this was really in theme with that. Let's go down to one of the cards I'm really excited about, Goldbug. So Goldbug, the creature part, the converting, all that stuff, it's all nice. But I'm gonna be honest, you're reading this card right here. I love prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking humans you control, and human spells you control can't be countered. Now, that's just some of the static abilities it has on this card. The other stuff around it does make it, timing-wise on when you cast it, important. But I thought this was one of the cards that really, really excites me. You can, depending on what side it's on, you're either going to prevent all combat damage or you're going to protect them from being countered. I really, really like that. I thought that was a really unique idea. And I think it's going to be cool to see how people flip this card back and forth. Jetfire Ingenious Scientist is the most recent card I did a video on over on TikTok. And look, pause to read it a little bit. Some of these cards are going to have to read more because I'm not going to read all of these cards. But I think if you have the way to filter the mana, you can turn this into a flipping it back and forth. I don't know if I should use an infinite word, but I think there's a chance. So here comes our two biggest creatures, two biggest names, I guess we should say, the good guys and the bad guys of all of it, right? So let's start with the bad guy. Megatron Tyrant. Look at those colors. And then the more than meets the eye reduces. So we've got your opponents can't cast spells during combat. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may convert Megatron. If you do, add colorless mana for each 1 life your opponent's lost this turn. He's a 7/5. No evasion. No evasion. But again, it's not just what he's done, it's what life has been lost. On the other side, when Megatron attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact. When you do, Megatron deals damage equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value to target creature. If excess damage would be dealt to this creature this way, instead that damage is dealt to that creature's controller. Convert Megatron. So if you have a 1/1 creature that you want to ping off that your opponent has, sacrifice something that's like a 5/5 artifact, or not 5/5, sorry, a 5 mana value artifact. It's going to be 4 damage to the player. So very interesting. Let's go over to Optimus Prime. I love the color scheme that they use for these two. We have Mardu and then we have American. Same starting cost, 6 to get out. At the beginning of each end step, bolster 1. Choose a creature with least toughness among creatures you control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Again, not a huge fan of the bolster mechanic, but that's how I've always felt. And then when Optimus Prime dies, return it to the battlefield converted. And the other side of it, trample. Whenever you attack, bolster 2. The chosen creature gains trample until end of turn. If that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, convert Optimus Prime. So Optimus Prime, to me, color scheme's the best thing about him. I don't think that Optimus Prime is that good. You have to have it die if you're going to convert it from this side, and you have to have a creature deal excess damage, even with the trample and the bolster. That's a lot. I don't anticipate Optimus Prime being a commander. I actually don't know if it'll be a huge, wildly played card. Just my opinion. Prowl, Stoic, Strategist. Yeah, this was one that I had a hard time figuring out what I felt. Um, Whenever it attacks, you can exile up to one other target tapped creature or vehicle for as long as that card remains exiled. Its owner may play it. So it's in play. It has to be tapped. Okay. Whenever a player plays a card exiled with Prowl, you draw a card and you convert. On the other side, whenever another creature or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowl. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, convert. So, kind of underwhelming. Um, I'm just not impressed with this one. This is probably the card that I'm least impressed with out of all of them. Moving on, we got Ratchet, Field Medic. I saw a little bit of conversation about this guy online, so let's see what we got. 3 to cast, he's got lifelink, that more than meets the eye, reduces the cost. Whenever you gain life, you may convert Ratchet. When you do, return target artifact card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped. So, doesn't have to trigger on the first time you gain life. That's awesome. Then the other side, whenever it's got lifelink, whenever one or more non-token artifacts you control are put in a graveyard from the battlefield, convert Ratchet. This ability triggers only once each turn. So they definitely saw the potential for this to go infinite, flipping it back and forth. Right? Because that triggers only once each turn, shuts it down. I saw a lot of people talking about this. Curious to see what the builds come out to. Here we go. Slicer, Hired Muscle. 5 to cast. That more than meets the eye, reduces. Double strike and haste. I love that. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may have that player gain control of Slicer until end of turn. If you do, untap Slicer, go to, and it can't be sacrificed this turn if you don't convert it. So you either convert this card on an opponent's upkeep, or you give them control of it. When it's converted, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, convert it at the end of combat. Yeah, underwhelming. All right, Soundwave. We got 3 cards left, guys. Stay with me. Soundwave. Another one of the cards that the more than meets the eye is actually a little bit more than the casting cost. Let's see what we got. Whenever one or more creature tokens you control deal combat damage to a player, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the damage dealt from their graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. If you do, convert Soundwave. So just kind of processing that. I think you can have that stack multiple players on a turn if you attack multiple players. And then on the other side, whenever you cast a spell with an odd mana value, convert Soundwave. If you do, create Ravage, a legendary 3/3 black robot artifact creature token with Menace and Death Touch. Whenever you cast a spell with an even mana value, convert Soundwave. If you do, create Laser Break, a legendary 2/2 blue robot artifact creature token with flying and hexproof. Okay, so this one, Esper, not hard to do tokens, not hard to put stuff in graveyards, not hard to have evasion. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. I really feel like this is going to be a good card. And it feels like that one additional to cast on the other side, just about right. All right, 2 cards left. Starscream, Power Hungry. So 4 to cast, more than meets the eye is reduced. As flying, whenever you draw a card, if you're the monarch, target opponent loses 2 life. Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, convert Starscream. Oh, so whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you. Okay. And then Flying Menace Haste, whenever Starscream deals combat damage to a player, if there is no monarch, that player becomes the monarch. When you become the monarch, convert. All right. Well, Monarch, I don't see too many people talk about that ability. I definitely don't see too many people playing it in the games that I've observed. Um, I think that's something that they need to give us a few more Monarch related cards. Yeah. Okay. And then up finally is going to be Ultra Magnus Tactician. So we've got 7 to cast, more than meets the eye is a little bit less. So it's got Ward 2. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I really enjoy the Ward mechanic. Whenever Ultra Magnus attacks, you may put an artifact creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. If you do, convert Ultra Magnus. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys. And it's a 7/7. And then we have Haste, Formidable. Whenever Ultra Magnus attacks, attacking creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. If those creatures have total power 8 or greater, convert Ultra Magnus. So let's think about this. So when it attacks, you can put an artifact creature, and then you have this over here living. Yeah, this seems like another good card. This seems pretty decent. Um, if you can get it out, keep it for a turn. That ward ability is huge. I think that's a huge ability to have, because it means it can be interacted with, but it also means that it can protect itself. And being at 7/7, it's going to be harder for smaller creatures to kill it. So I see them trying to come up with a way to let you at least use this once, um, if not multiple times. And then Formidable. I really like that even if you have this and like maybe one or two other creatures attacking, if it's not over 8, you don't have to convert it. And that kind of brings me into my overview of these. So I'm just looking at these from a very basic high level. There are going to be some players out there that are going to see things that the rest of us don't. It's always like that, and that's actually one of my favorite things about this game is just how unique each player's perception is of this thing we call deck building. Overall, these cards all have some strengths and weaknesses. There's a few that I really don't care about, and as I go through these, I see a lot of abilities and a lot of old keywords that have been used throughout the years. I am just throwing this out there without much thought. I think that when they do these additional cards like this, where it's going to be within the main set, it's going to be kind of like a theme like that, universes beyond whatever. I think that they should use as many different abilities as possible and not repeat. So like, there should only be modular on one. There should only be um, discard abilities on one. There should only be hexproof on one. There should only be ward on one. Spread it out a bit. Things like flashback, stuff like that. Get some of those out there. Hell, even bring banding. I think that'd be fun. Or horsemanship. Try that on the card. Overall, I think that the universe beyond is Magic's response to what's coming from Disney. You see, Magic is really pumping a lot of different IP material at us because I think Disney is going to give players an opportunity to play with characters they're aware of. Magic creates new characters every set or new story or whatever. Even if we bring back old characters like they are in Brothers War, it's still, for some players, a new character experience. So I definitely don't see Universes Beyond going anywhere. I think we're going to get like Lord of the Rings, something anime. We just got Warhammer 40K. I believe we're getting Doctor Who. It's not going anywhere. Um, I personally like this style versus doing an entire set or doing special release decks because it makes it not every player want to buy those decks for the Warhammer. Some players really like just opening packs. I enjoy opening a pack and the thrill of not knowing what you're going to get. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, overall, I think that they're moving in the right direction with these builds. I really do. I think that this is all pretty decent design. I don't live under the premise of all 15 of these cards have to be absolute bangers. Some of them aren't going to be that good, and we've seen that. And even if you go just by the price, you can see which ones are kind of maybe valued a little bit less. So, and then of course, I want to wait until we were done because it's WotC and they can't help themselves. They did alternative art. They're calling these the shattered glass ones. And at least they did different art. I will give them that. They did different art. So which one did they not include? Because we're short a card. I'll have to go back and check. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys. What a set this is turning out to be. I'll do a video coming up about some of the other cards. But I just wanted to show you guys. If I'm not mistaken, there was a set or two that recently came out that had the keyword of protection from robots. So I definitely think that could be something to keep an eye on. But yeah, we're getting alternative art. Welcome to Magic. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. It feels like things are starting to move around here, and I truly appreciate it. You guys are the best. I did not watch Transformers growing up. It just wasn't a cartoon I got into. I mean, I've watched it, but it wasn't something that I sought out. So I have a couple questions for the community, and then I'll end this video. First off, if you are a Transformers fan, did they represent the characters and the cards fairly and accurately? If the characters are good or evil, did they do a good job representing them with what they have going on here? Also, is there a character that they didn't bring into this that you would like to have seen? I imagine that there's more than just these characters in the show. What was the one that you have these two as well that create the tokens? But is there a character that they missed? Or if you could change something, what would you do? You guys think we're going to get the GoBots next? But no. And then finally, what are your guys' thoughts on these cards? What's your favorite? Me personally, I kind of like this Megatron. Jetfire really has me intrigued. Goldbug, really good. Soundwave, intrigued for sure. There's a lot of interesting things I think that are going to be done with these cards, and I think as people get their hands on them and start brewing, that'll definitely increase or decrease the attractiveness of some of these cards. As always, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time. This is Tony K with UGSM, and we'll see you next time.